Hey there, just before you jump onto this webinar, make sure you click the subscribe button and also click the bell icon so that you're notified of all future trainings. Now let's get into this one.
Hey team, thank you for your patience. We are going to kick off now. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. Sorry, my name is Fong. I'm one of the co-founders of Owner, and I'll be walking you through the next half an hour of what you need to do or what you need to check before the end of the CCS year. Now, we typically do run these ones every year just to make sure that that you are considering some of the changes that are coming ahead, but also some of the things that we need to close out before the start of the new CCS year. So without further ado, I do have Taryn here with me who will be fielding the online chat. So throughout the session, feel free to pop in any questions into the online chat as we go along, and we'll do our best to answer them during the session. If we can't get to all the questions during the session, we will make note of them and we will come back to you directly. But again, without further ado, let's go through the end of year CCS checklist. So this afternoon, what we'll go through is one of the first things that you need to do is check the absences for this year. So as you come along to the end of this year, you're going to get families that have probably getting to the point where they've maybe exhausted their allocation of absences this year. So there are some reports that you can check within Owner that will highlight to you which families are in the process of or close to breaching the number of allowable absences for this year. Secondly, we'll go through how to ensure you've submitted all your sessions for this year as well. So things may have happened for whatever reason, if you provided a late CRN, if enrollment numbers have changed, things like that, that may prevent you from submitting or realizing all the CCS benefits on behalf of families. So we'll go through how to submit those sessions as well. Reminding families to confirm their 2021-2022 income. Now, that's a real major one that we need to start reminding parents to do. The implication of not doing so means that their CCS could actually just drop off at the start of the new CCS year, okay? So again, we'll go into a little bit more detail about that one there, but it does set the basis of what percentages and what allowable hours they actually have as their entitlement. So important to do that one and important to start reminding families for that. Check any fees against the hourly cap. Now, we'll go through that and we'll go through what the hourly cap is currently. We haven't been given any formal indication of what the hourly cap is at this stage. And then the last point there, guys, is there's a number of new rules that are coming for the new CCS year. In particular, you actually do have just in a very standard sense, most families or most people that are eligible for CCS will actually get a higher amount of CCS is probably the theme of what we'll talk about there. Now, just to jump into the first topic, checking absences for the current CCS year. So currently families are allowed 42 allowable absences throughout any financial year. Now, this will be the last CCS year that you will actually get the allowable 10 further absences. So this CCS year, you can actually have up to 52 allowable absences. And that was the standard 42 that you had previously, plus 10 more that was catering towards COVID illnesses. So now, one of the things that is changing, guys, is that is reverting back to 42 for the next CCS year. So as you get closer to the end of this current CCS year, make sure you check whether families are getting near or over the number of allowable absences. Now, how you do this in Owner is if you from your administration portal on the left-hand side, if you click on CCS and then click on entitlements, the entitlement screen will appear. And then what I'll get you to do is then click on the button that says get entitlements. That's going to show you a summary of all the entitlements for each child, including their percentage of CCS, the number of hours they've been allocated, but also the number of absences that they've been recorded against their enrollment for this particular CCS year. So you'll start to see these bubbles, whether it's if it's in red, they've already breached the number of allowable absences, but then you'll see other ones here where it'll say things like 22. So That's how you find out within owner. So I might just quickly bring that up if I can. I won't be able to show you specifically what it looks like, but at least I can show you where the menu exists. Let's see that again.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to stop sharing. Okay. Okay, so everyone should be able to see my screen now. Now to just go through that flow again, click on CCS, go down to entitlements. And then once you're at that screen, click this button here, get entitlements, and it will display you, again, a summary of all the entitlements, including the current recorded absences for that family. Again, guys, if you have any questions at all, please just pop them into the chat and we'll answer them as soon as we can. Second point there, ensure the 2022-2023 sessions are submitted correctly. So at the end of the CCS year, Centrelink will balance the family's account by looking at the attendance information and the family's income. Now, services must make sure that all sessions have been submitted correctly up until the 30th of June. It's actually going to extend just beyond that because the new CCS year, I believe, starts on the 12th or the 13th of July. So now it's important that we submit all the CCS sessions up until this point, up until that point, sorry, because CCS then balance the books. They virtually just kind of look at what CCS has been paid to a family. Does that align to their income? Have they paid more? Have they paid less? If they've paid more, so if they've received more CCS, that means they may have to pay back some CCS. If they've been paid too less CCS, the government, sorry, Centrelink will then back pay you any difference in that as well. So important that we submit to the best of our abilities to the number of sessions throughout the CCS year. So mistakes in reporting sessions can lead to administration headaches, including CCS being paid directly to families and services having to retrieve money specifically from them. Now, the easiest way, guys, the easiest way in owner to check if all your sessions have been submitted is by going to the weekly attendance fee report. Now, that's just under CCS, and I'll show you that in a moment. And anything with a red X next to their name means they haven't been submitted. So let's have a look at that now. So if you go to CCS, if you go to the weekly attendance fee, just on the left there, I'm just going to click on get attendance fee. Now, as you scroll through, you'll see things like this, where the child appears with a red X, that means the session for that particular week hasn't been submitted. All you need to do in owner is actually click on this blue button and it'll submit that session to CCS. That gets processed overnight and it makes sure that the CCS gets processed. If it's applicable, it might either be back paid directly to you or be back paid to the parent directly, but it does ensure that that session for that particular week or weeks have received CCS funding. Okay, so what I encourage you to do from here is that you do have to do this by week. So I would start at the beginning of the CCS financial year. So that's back in July. Let me just bring it up. I think it's July the 11th. So start this exercise from July the 11th. If you click on July the 11th and click on get attendance fee, you want to be able to go through and click on all these blue buttons here. Now, typically, most of the time, you'll see that these red X's are actually ticks, which means you don't actually have to do anything, but anything with a red X, you need to submit, okay? So just click on that blue button and that will submit that session. So it is going to take you a little bit just to go through each week and go through and submit all those ones that haven't been submitted previously. So that's making sure you submit your sessions correctly. That's point number 2. So point number 1 was reviewing absences. Point number 2 is submitting your sessions throughout the CCS year. Number 3, remind families to confirm their 2021-2022 income. Now, families must confirm their 2021-2022 income by the 30th of June to balance their account and continue to receive CCS. In very simple terms, guys, if families haven't either declared their income via MyGov or submitted a tax return for their 2021-2022 year, it effectively means that CCS don't know what to base their entitlements on, okay, in terms of the percentages and the hours. Now, the percentage entitlement is based on income. So, you know, they can go from anywhere from, say, receive 80%, and if they haven't declared their income, can actually go to 0. The hours that they're allowed for each fortnight is determined by their activity level, right? So they've got to make sure that they've also updated their activity test as well. So if you've moved from, say, part-time work to full-time, or you've gone from full-time work to just studying, that all plays that all has an effect on the number of hours that a family receives in each fortnight. So 2 things here to remind families to do is, number 1, declare their income for the 21-22 year. That affects the percentage of their entitlement. If they don't do it, the implication is that CCS can just drop off. Okay. Now they can do that in 2 ways. One way is to do it via MyGov, just declare your income through there, or alternatively, submit your tax returns for that particular year. That's declaring your income. They should also be, whilst they're doing that, they may as well go through and also complete or an updated activity test as well. So if they've, again, that's to do with whether they work full-time, part-time, casually, if they're studying, if they're volunteering, that ensures that they get the appropriate amount of hours each fortnight. So in terms of what we suggest, there are some posters that I think the Department of Education do put out at this time of the year that you can actually put up. The alternative is, guys, is just pop up a post on or announcement post on the app, and just to make sure that they go through that process. Check any fees changes against the hourly cap. So most services that we go through each year have, I guess, two major times whereby you look to adjust your fees. So that's usually at the beginning of the financial year or the beginning of the calendar year. In either way, it actually doesn't really matter, but it's important that services often increase their fees in line with the new CCS year. It's important to check that your new fees in relation to the hourly cap, as it may result in a large increase in gap fee paid by the family. So the current hourly cap is $12.74. So I guess in very simple terms, if your daily fee is say $150 and that family is on a 10-hour session, that would mean they're on a $15 hourly rate. If you compare that to the hourly cap, CCS will only pay you a maximum of up to $12.74. So the difference between $15 and $12.74, the $2.26 odd cents, means that families will pay an additional amount out of pocket for that session of care. Now, in an alternative scenario, let's say it was I don't know, $150 divided by a 12-hour session, for example, that might bring it below the hourly cap, and then there's no further out-of-pocket expenses for families with regard to the gap. You do then have to balance those session hours, like be it a 12-hour session or a 10-hour session, against how many allowable hours families have over the fortnight, okay? So it does sound easy to go, hey, I'll just go $154, I'll put them on a 12-hour session, but it means that they may exhaust their hourly, the number of hours they have across the fortnight, okay? So the biggest takeaway from here, guys, is if you're looking to adjust your fees and you want to, I guess, not have a huge impact on the gap that parents pay, then check your fee against the session. Sorry, when I say session, the number of hours within that session, whether it's a 10-hour session, an 8-hour session, or a 12-hour session. So long as it's in and around the $12.74 mark, you'll end up maximizing the amount of CCS that families receive for care. So just to recap, where we are at this stage, guys, is number 1, check your absences. Number 2, check if you've submitted all your sessions correctly throughout the year. 3, can make sure families are confirming their income and also completing an activity test. 4, check any fee changes against the hourly cap. Now, the current caps that you're looking for here are the current hourly caps. We haven't been given any indication from the department at this stage around what the new hourly cap might be for the new CCS year. Typically, it is indexed against inflation, but I don't know specifically what that is. We will communicate that as soon as possible in terms of when we get communicated that by the department. So just stay in touch and we'll get that out to you as soon as we can. Check for any changes to rules in the new CCS year. So the new CCS year will come with a few different changes. So as I mentioned earlier today, with the new Labor government coming into effect, one of the policies that was stated was to increase the CCS rates and removal of income brackets. So it actually makes CCS more accessible to more families ultimately. So they've also got that's one thing. So in practice, most families will receive more CCS. Second point to that would be more families will be eligible for CCS because they've removed the income brackets as well, or they've actually made them higher. And the second point on there, guys, is changes to the activity test for families with First Nations children. So again, they've made some changes to the activity test for those families. Again, make the underlying tone there would be to make CCS more available to more families generally. Now, so make sure you keep your team and families up to date to ensure that you're getting the correct subsidies and giving out the correct advice in 2023, 2024. But what you can do is we will be rolling out some information packs. Some of them are already available via the department, but if you stay close to us and you follow us on Facebook via the community group or on Instagram or even the owner app channel via YouTube, we are publishing more of these updates and these changes out as we get closer. Other things that are not related to CCS that are coming are the changes to the EYLF and the NQF. So we will again brief you as soon as we can, as soon as those changes start to come out. So that's it, guys. Look, if you need some extra support with CCS, we do have a separate service that does help manage your CCS, whether or not it manages everything from your enrollments all the way through to invoicing, billing, reconciling your accounts, and also doing your family inquiries as well. So if you do find the need or you're falling a little bit behind in terms of your admin around CCS, we do have a specialist team there. So feel free to reach out to us and we can certainly provide you some more information as to that service as well. But before we go, guys, I thought I'd just quickly recap, just starting from the top here. Number one, check your absences for the current CCS year. Advise families if they're getting close to the total limit. Again, the total limit for this year is 52. Ensure you submit all your sessions correctly this year. So that does go through an exercise of going back to your weekly submissions and making sure everything's been submitted correctly on behalf of families. That's the second point. Third point, remind families to confirm their income for the previous financial year. So again, they can do that via MyGov or they can submit their tax returns for that particular year. Fourth point there, check any fee changes against the hourly cap. Again, the hourly cap for the next CCS year is not currently available. The current one for early education is $12.74. But if you are looking to change your fees, just make sure that you check them against the hourly cap. The last point there, guys, is check for any changes to rules in the new CCS year. As I mentioned, the biggest one there is just CCS becomes more readily available or more applicable to more families at a higher rate. So they're the, I guess, 5 summary points, guys. If you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to myself and to my team. You can get some additional information via support@owner.com.au. Apart from that, I might just quickly shout out, because we've got a little bit of time here in terms of questions, so I might just pause there and I'll come up now.
Just show the last slide again.
Oh, sorry, Jenny, let me pop up that last slide for you, mate. We can make these slides available as well. The last slide, is that check for any new changes, mate, or is it need some extra help with CCS? Regardless, Jenny, we're more than happy to send this out to all the participants in this session as well, mate. So you don't have to scribble anything down. We'll send this out post this session as well. Feel free to pop up any questions there. Shout out if you actually have anything as well, and just unmute yourself, and happy to answer any further questions you might have. Okay, team, it's been amazing to talk to you. It's well, I don't get this opportunity that often to speak to our customers directly, but again, look, my team and I are here to help you with the balance of the CCS year. It's always a bit of a tricky time, so feel free to reach out to us, and we're more than happy to assist along the way. Thanks, guys, and we'll be sending out this pack as soon as we can. Thank you.